Hello there. Hope everyone is doing great here in California. We are enjoying some beautiful fall weather, nice cool evenings and nights, and 70-ishes during the day. So, totally enjoying the weather. I have something different for you today. I wanted to start doing a little series of cards. I'm not a big card maker, um, but I kind of am that person that when there's an event, I don't have a card. So I figured if I start sharing cards, and my plan is super easy, quick, simple, and then I'll show you some alternatives to up the game a little bit, I will end up with cards in my stash. So today, or for the month of November, I want to focus on Christmas cards. Super quick, super easy. And again, like I said, I will show you some alternatives where we're going to step it up. So this is my card for today. I am using actually two die sets here, but easily done with just one. I have all of my dimensions. I have them all written down. I'm going to leave them here on my mat, and then I will leave them in the end for a bit so that if you want to screenshot it or write it down, you can. That way you have all of the dimensions. So this card uses the Gingerbread Man dies. So as you can see, we've got that big giant gingerbread man, and these are the ones that I'm going to be using today. So we have the double gingerbread man. This is not a cut, it is a fold, so it just scores it. So we'll be trimming off one gingerbread. You could actually cut it straight down the middle if you place something on its hand, which is what we are going to do. And then you could hide that. So you'd end up with two, or you could do an opening card. We have the hat, the face, and there are like 3 different faces to choose from. We have the bow, and there's also a scarf. This is the icing, and then the mug. So I'm going to place these aside. Let me I'm going to place the card over here too, and bring in my papers. You can see here I do have a die cut layer. This can easily be done just with a piece of white cardstock. You don't need this. This is the Perennial Postage die set. And then our paper, we are using Real Red. This is White Willow or Willow White. I always say it wrong. And then the pattern paper here is from the Christmas Tags and More, the 6x6. Grab that. Mine is somewhat of a mess. I've been cutting into it, and I got all these scraps. So this is 6x6 paper. So this works really, really well. Let me show you really quick how I prep my cards. It's a super quick tip, and you can get a couple done all at once. So an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, we're going to be working on Real Red, will make you 2 cards. And let me just show you a little trick that I use to make it just a bit simpler. So on this shorter side, which we're going to stick here on the base of our paper trimmer, let me move that up just a bit. We're going to place that at 4 1/4, and we're not going to cut, we're going to score. So let's score that really quick. Alrighty, and then we're going to turn it so the long side, and I'm going to butt it up against the top because it gives me the measurement I need at 5 1/2, and we're going to cut. This is going to give us a portrait style side fold or top fold card, either way. So I'm going to place one of those aside. Like I said, it gives you 2. I am going to take my card, let me slide this back up again, and what I do to fold it so that it folds evenly, I stick it into the corner. You could do this with a scoreboard, works really great with a scoreboard. You're going to line up your little ends right there, and then you want to bring in your bone folder, and you're just going to crease that really hard. So burnish it down, and you have a perfectly folded card. So often I'd end up with these little like 1/16 of an inch off. Drove me crazy. So that is how I get around it. And it makes 2 cards at once. So let me bring my pieces back in. We have our Real Red. Make sure we're got it on the correct side. It is a portrait style side fold card. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Layer 1 is what I used was the Perennial Postage, the largest die, but it measures 3 3/4 by 5. So you can just use a piece of white cardstock. So if you want to mass produce these, it goes super fast. So let's adhere this one down. Get that put down. But any square or a rectangular die, if you have it, works. So this one gives you about a 1/4 inch all the way around. So it's a pretty hefty little margin. Get that straight. Lift it up once more. Get that put down. That looks good. Then we are going to take layer number 2, and that one is the Christmas tags and more. This one is 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. I'll get that one put down. I love this plaid. I wish I could just buy the plaid. There's always one paper in every pack that I have that I wish I could buy more of, or just buy that. So we're going to center that one. There we go. Alrighty, so our card base is done. Super easy peasy, quick, what have you. Let me bring in our parts and pieces. We have our gingerbread man. And what I did was I cut out, I'll share with you, I cut out the hat in real red along with the bow. Can do the scarf, super cute. There's 3 faces. I like this one the most. The buttons are the eyeballs. So I cut those 2 more times so I could have 3 buttons. The coffee cup or hot cocoa cup. I cut the pom-pom out of white, trimmed it down. I'm going to glue that on top. And then I cut the icing out 3 times just to do the arms and the legs. This is going to hide most of this one, so we only need a little bit. This little guy here, he is from, let me grab that one really quick. He is from the Homemade Treats, the little guy right there. If you have this set, that would work really well, or the candy cane would be super cute. This little dollop I have of whipped cream is out of my stash. It's from a Spellbinders Stampin' Die set, or actually it's a Spellbinders die set only, but I liked it in the coffee cup, but you don't have to put anything in it. So let me set that aside and let me show you real quick how we're going to build up this little guy. Super easy. I like to start with the hat because that way I know where to place my eyeballs. So I like to use glue. It's a little simpler. So, but you could use, at least for this one, because this one is totally flat. I'm not going to use any dimensionals. I'm just going to start off by gluing down the rim or brim of the hat. And then when I adhere him to the card, I will do the rest. Let's add our pom-pom. And you can see I use scraps. I have so many white scraps. This works great. You can use up all those little bits and pieces that you have in your stash. I have to bring him just a little closer to me. Get that there. And then you can just wiggle it into place. There we go. So you got a little pom-pom. Let us quickly build our bow so that has a moment to dry. We're just going to add a little dot of glue right here. And place the bow right about there. And then one more dot of glue for the center. Let me grab my center real fast. There we go. And just get that lined up. There we go. This Barely Art glue does dry clear, but I just take my reverse tweezers. I know some people might have a heart attack that I do that. I use that to clean my stuff up. So that done. We're going to add some glue to the back of this and get the little bow done. Like I said, these are meant to be super quick, super easy. And then if you want to mass produce them, that's going to be super simple as well. So I got our bow down. Let me get my take your pick tool here. It's going to be a little easier to pick all these little pieces up. pull him down just a bit and just add 2 dots of glue for the eyes. And like I said, these are all these pieces I am using for the eyes and the buttons are all the same. So, oops, just stuck my finger in there. Let's get a little bit more. So, eyes and the mouth. And like I said, they have different ones. They have winking gingerbread men, and then they have one that has just a circle for its mouth. Oh goodness. All right, we're going to do that. Here we go. So you have quite a collection of mouths to choose from. Straighten him out. Hold him down. There we go. And then let's adhere these buttons really quick. 1, 2, 3. Alrighty. Like I said, I will have some alternatives that step this up, because you can, if you have white pigment ink, it does the outline, or you can emboss it, which is what I did, because my white pigment ink is very dry. I need to buy a re-inker for it. So I couldn't do that. So those look pretty straight. Let us move on here to the icing. Again, I am going to, like I said, just piece it together around, because we're not going to need all the pieces. And depending upon how perfect you want it to look, you can make them identical all the way around. So that's why I did 3, because I kind of like to see if I can get it to look the same. Let's see if I have enough. Put a little touch of glue there on the back. There we go. A little too much. There we go. And then we're just going to come in with a pair of scissors and snip off the extra. While we're snipping that off, I'll show you how I trim off the arm. I'm going to save those pieces, like I said, because we're going to stick them behind the mug. And if you see, you could see there is a score line there. So since this one I only cut the one, because you can just cut one, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Otherwise you can cut right on the score line and hide it. Let's see. There we go. Get that out of the way. One leg done. So let's get these other 2 adhere down. And this goes really quick. If you want to mass produce these, you can die cut everything out and then just do an assembly line and put them together that way, sitting in front of the TV. It's a great way. Watch a movie, YouTube video, and craft at the same time. Wish my craft room was in my living room so I could watch TV. But it's not. So let's trim this one off. All right. Do our arm. There we go. I'm hoping these cards will take, once you have them all cut out, just 4 or 5 minutes to put together. Okay, maybe 8, I don't know. But to make it quick so that you can, if you want to, mass produce them and send them out. And also these are flat, so they should not be an issue putting them in the mail, that they're going to cost you extra postage, because the thicker ones will. So those might be the ones you want to hand deliver or include on the gift. Alrighty. And there we go. And before I do the last one, we're going to add in the coffee mug just to get an idea of where we're going to stick that. And then we can just use these little tiny pieces. So I think I want to do that. It's like that. And since you're not going to see the other, you know, the underneath, just like when we cut paper and make it look like it's a big piece and it's not, it's kind of like this. So just going to put that like that and adjust it and trim. There we go. And trim off the other side. And let's bring our coffee, our little hot chocolate mug back in. That's going to sit right there, and then no one can tell. So let's adhere the mug down. Remove my tools out of the way so in case you're looking at that. You could do this with adhesive. I just think it's easier to do with glue. So put the little mug just like that. And I'm going to add the gingerbread man to this one. So let's bring in our card. We'll put him in just a second. Bring in our adhesive. Twist him. Whoops. Whoops. There we go. Going to line him up. Just want to make sure his little pom-pom doesn't go over the top. Let us add this little guy. Alrighty. Slide him there underneath. And there you have it. Look at how cute that came out. And, oops, sorry about that. So cute and so quick. Super easy. Again, like I said, you can step it up. I will show you a few other variations of it. If you have a Posca marker, these are, let me see, I have a white one. Let me see here. These Posca markers, that would work too if you are pretty sturdy with your hand. I'm not quite that good. I prefer just to emboss it. For me, it's easier, but you could outline it. That would be easy. So cute, cute, cute. You just want to, on the inside, if you just add a small white card, you could do the whole thing. I did not do a sentiment as of yet. And then just stamp your sentiment in the center and you have a place to write. So let me bring in my other cards. So this is the one we made today. And then I did one in very, more untraditional colors. So very traditional red and green. This is Strawberry Slush and Pool Party. And you can see here I added a little lollipop, which is also from the set. This one I did emboss with the white embossing powder. And that comes out really good. Also, if you emboss and you have little spots that are missing, that Posca marker works great to fill them in. I also inked around the outside of the gingerbread man and a little bit of inking on the hat and the scarf. This one I used the scarf. And then I only used the two. This one comes, the stamp comes with 2 buttons. I don't know why they don't have dies for the buttons, but the stamp does. So it has 2. Face is just a little, it's similar, but a little different. But I like that color combination. And then I made this one here. And this one is out of, oh, let me check here. Pretty Peacock. I had to think about that one. And then the Christmas paper is the Elegant Pine Snowflakes. So the one that makes the snowflakes out of the pine boughs. So these are all coordinating colors. I have pecan pie. The pretty peacock. I don't know why I can't remember that. And then the lollipop is cherry cobbler. And I did again do the embossing opposed to the cutting that out. I used some of that really pretty gold weave ribbon. And then I added a couple of little bling. These are just bling out of my stash. Here I added some little bit of bling too. Add one to the center of the cup. This one does not have the mug, so that is an option as well. So that is what I have for you today. Quick, easy, couple alternatives to step it up a bit. And then I have all of my cutting dimensions here. So hope you liked the video. Hope you were able to sit down and get a little creative with this. And I will be back next week with another card for you. And I'll see you on a regularly scheduled Friday video on YouTube. Have a good one. Bye-bye.